how you can find the keybinds that work the best for you. I don't like this misconception that when you get on to look for a set of keybinds, or you're only switching to a keyboard mouse, the first thing they're going to recommend is 2 mouse buttons for your wall and your ramp, C for floor, shift for cone, Q for floor, C for shift, so on. But then you have to keep in mind that people hold their mouses different, they have different hands, they use a different grip style, which therefore can make certain binds more difficult. Or if you put Q as your floor and you use your ring finger, it's a weak finger, so you're going to struggle. So what I have here is certain binds that I recommend you should try. Now, do again keep in mind that you can use the 2 mouse buttons for your wall and your ramp, or maybe just use one for your floor, or one for your wall is quite good as well. But if you're trying to figure out what's best for you, you want to keep in mind that you want to try spread out your fingers between different buttons. So if Q is your floor, C is your ramp, and then you have your wall button as your, or your mouse button as your wall, and then shift as your cone, that's all spread out, so you're going to get quicker movements. But if you don't have a strong pinky finger or a strong ring finger, you're going to struggle with those binds. So what I would recommend to do is, first of all, you want to keep your wall on your front mouse button. Then you have C that you should hit with your thumb. You're going to have to angle your keyboard down like this. So you'll do that. And then the more, like, if you have your thumb on C and then you try to put a cone on shift, it's not going to be as comfortable because you're kind of curling them. So try bring your thumb finger further down the keyboard. And now that's going to be a bit more difficult because you're going to have to get used to that and like jump, but it will take a few weeks to get used to even that. So the further you bring your thumb down, the easier shift is to hit. Then you could say put C, V, and then edit with G, have shift as your cone. So mouse button wall, C for floor, V for stairs, G for edit, shift for cone. In my opinion, those are the best binds because these are right next to each other. Then you have your edit, you have shift, and you have your mouse button for wall. And so that's full movement you're keeping while you're building, and you're getting all your fingers close to everything basically. Another set of binds that are good is Q for your wall, C for your stairs, then you have your mouse button as well. So basically, don't get caught up in this whole thing where like you need to have full control of your movement to be the best version that you can be, or that you should use both mouse buttons for wall and ramp to be the best. Because for me personally, I struggle with Q, I struggle with shift, I struggle with that back mouse button. So I'm still to this day unsure of what binds to actually stick with. I know I enjoy like C for ramp, but because I've used the 2 mouse buttons Q and C for 3 or 4 months nearly, I've gotten used to that movement. So when I go off my binds, I usually go back after a few days because I feel held back. Then once I go back within a few days of that, I get to this point where I don't like these binds anymore. So I'm constantly trying to juggle that one in. So please don't get caught up in that, or if you're switching, like really understand what binds feel most comfortable for you. Like when you're building, if you're just building, for example, place a cone on the floor, edit them both, and then place a ramp and flip the ramp as you're going down, and then do triple edits up, and then do the exact same down. And always try have it so that like if you start off with shift and C, you're always going to find that you end up hitting the cone second because C is much more easier to hit at first. So you're going to get caught up in that, and you're not going to be able to like do a triple edit without putting a cone outside of that ramp after. So try to understand your binds in the sense that your cone always gets placed first before your floor while it's being comfortable, if that makes sense. So like if you go like E and T, they're going to be hard to use to time and then like get back to edit. So like X and C, cone, floor, that's a good bind because it's right next to each other. You're editing, that's quite easy to get used to and it's nice, but you're not getting that full movement, if that makes sense, if you use it with your index. So take the time, learn what grip style works best for you and what binds. You can look at other videos, they'll all recommend the usual 2 mouse buttons, but not everyone. If you look at a lot of pros, like what I've gathered, the majority of pros don't use both mouse buttons. They use the mouse button Q for ramp, you know, just break it up to what's comfortable. That's basically it. If you have any comments or any questions, please shoot them down below. And with that being said, if you do want to enjoy this video and find it helpful, drop a like and subscribe.